Hello and welcome to the Fix Your Stupid Brain podcast, where we turn brain rot into brain soil. I'm your host, Garrett Crowder, and in this episode, I'll be talking about social anxiety, what causes it, how to combat it, and what to do if you feel different about a situation that caused it later. Let's get into it. As a disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are for general informational and entertainment purposes only. The host and guest do not provide any legal, medical, financial, or other professional advice. Nothing on this podcast creates a lawyer, client, doctor, patient, or other professional relationship. Do not act or rely on anything discussed without first consulting a qualified professional about your specific circumstances. The host and producers make no representations or warranties about the accuracy, completeness, or suitability of the information and are not responsible for any actions taken based on the content of this podcast in any way, shape, or form. So, what exactly is social anxiety? According to anxiety.org, anxiety is defined as a physiological and psychological response that occurs when the mind and body encounter a stressful, dangerous, or unfamiliar situation, manifesting itself as feeling of discomfort, distress, or apprehension before a significant event. Therefore, according to hola.health, social anxiety is persistent fear of being evaluated, judged, or embarrassed by others in social or performance situations, and which is not temporary and mild. This is not to be confused with shyness, which is temporary and mild. And to be clear, I will also not be talking about social anxiety disorder, as that should be addressed by a professional. Allow me to give an example of social anxiety. I have wanted to try to meet people and maybe even get a girlfriend. In that pursuit, I have tried to get myself to go to bars or other third places where people hang out traditionally. I'll do research for places, practice strategies I can use, and I'll put on my better looking clothes to make a better first impression. But then I ask myself, do I really want to do this? Wouldn't you rather just stay in and just do what you enjoy? And even on the rare occasion where I could bring myself to go out, not only did I never feel fully comfortable, but even if I could say I had a good time, when I got home, I would think, man, that was awful. Let's not go there again. As you can hopefully tell, this was not just a I'm feeling shy moment, or I'm feeling shy moments, as I am consistently fighting my own brain to go and be social. And even when I do, afterwards, my brain tries to convince me that I had a bad time, even if I actually had a good time. So, what can be done about social anxiety? The techniques I'm about to go over have been collected from a variety of sources. I'll have a link to all the sources I've used in this episode show notes. First, identify your triggers. What causes your social anxiety most often? Is it public speaking? Is it eating alone? For me, I recognize that going to an unfamiliar place and being with unfamiliar people is what causes my social anxiety. You might not know what causes your social anxiety, and that's okay. Just write down when, where, and what caused your social anxiety across multiple days. Once you have these events recorded, you can go back and see what is causing your social anxiety most frequently. Second, try some exposure therapy. For a place or scenario where you have some social anxiety, but not tons, try doing something in that place or scenario that you truly enjoy. For example, I know that I get nervous in bars. What I should do is I go to a bar and then watch a movie I truly enjoy. The idea is to associate the positive experience of the movie with the place, so when I go back, I'll remember that positive experience and have less social anxiety with the place, regardless of what activity I am enjoying in that place. Now, for situations it might be a little bit more difficult, but that's where this next tip comes into play. Third, try a grounding technique. A grounding technique is an action you can perform to calm the nervous system and reduce the physical symptoms of anxiety. For example, breath control like the 4-7-8 technique. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and exhale out the mouth for 8 seconds. You can ground yourself with the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. You can also try progressive muscle relaxation. First, tense up the muscles in your feet and hold that tension for 5 seconds. Exhale as you release that tension slowly and focus on the new looseness of those muscles for 10 seconds while breathing slowly. Repeat this all the way up your body, in your legs, in your chest, in your arms, and in your face. You also might try art therapy. Write about a place where you feel safe in detail, draw a self-portrait, or play a song that you like. Do note, you don't actually have to be a great artist for this, just doing the action creates this feeling. Fourth, make changes to your lifestyle. Your mind and body are parts of a whole, and how you treat your body impacts your anxiety levels. For example, getting 30 minutes moderate exercise like walking per day, getting 6 to 8 hours of quality sleep a night, limiting caffeine and alcohol intake, staying hydrated, and practicing mindfulness like meditation. And fifth, use cognitive behavioral techniques. The idea behind cognitive behavioral therapy is to identify and change unhelpful thought patterns. So challenge your negative thoughts and replace them with more helpful ones. This is known as realistic thinking. For example, you want to ask yourself, have you ever heard someone else say something silly or awkward in public? And how did you respond? If you responded positively, as in you found it funny for a few seconds and then moved on without really thinking about that moment again, remember that for when the shoe is on the other foot, as most people are likely to think the same. Or maybe ask, what is the best thing that can happen? This way you're only thinking about the positives. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list of everything you could do to combat social anxiety. And as I said earlier, I will have a link in the show notes to all the sources I used for this episode. So if none of the suggestions I went over work for you, you can try some other options. And of course, if all else fails, consult a professional. But some of you might have noticed the explanations I gave at the top of the episode and heard my story about social anxiety and thought, wait a minute, that doesn't match up. As a reminder, the definition of anxiety was talking about effects in your body before a significant event. However, I was getting a sort of post-anxiety. Well, it turns out this does still match up with the definition, but for the next social event. This post-anxiety is known as post-event rumination, and is a part of a cycle that we go through. We attend a social event, we evaluate, we think about the event, which leads to an increase in anxiety for the next social event, and the cycle repeats. So, what can be done about post-event rumination? You'll want to ask yourself, what are you stuck on? And then ask, what is the evidence that the worries I am having are untrue? So instead of ruminating on your experiences, you want to reflect on them. Reflection is about recognizing that we have negative thoughts, questioning them, and remembering the good as well. If you find yourself starting to ruminate, try writing a short description of the event. Say what happened, how you felt, and why you think you felt the way you did. Write down any questions that come to your mind and any answers you come up with. This is also a part of cognitive behavioral therapy that I went over earlier. Finally, I want to go over something known as the spotlight effect. Researchers at Cornell University conducted an experiment involving about 200 students. In the study, participants wore an embarrassing bright yellow Barry Manilow t-shirt and walked into a room full of strangers. Afterward, they estimated how many people noticed their t-shirt. On average, they thought about 50% of the observers saw it. However, when asked to recall details about the participant, including their clothing, the observers remembered the t-shirt only about 25% of the time. So what does that mean for us with social anxiety? It means that we overestimate how people think about us. One thing you can do is to think about another normal person from their point of view. What problems are they facing? What are they worried or stressed about? What other things are they thinking about? If you go over these questions, you'll probably realize that they're only thinking about themselves. Or if they did notice you, they probably forget about you in 5 minutes. That is all I have for you on this episode of Fix Your Stupid Brain. If you like what you heard here, don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. I've been your host, Garrett Crowder. Don't forget to have a good one.